Glad to have you back. It's the Business Daily right here on Trust Television. Of course, we're going into our discussion. Of course, the first topic we're looking at today is the issue of genetically modified food. There's a lot of perception in Nigeria with regards to the consumption of that good. A lot of people are saying that the danger is more than the benefit. I have joining me from Port Harcourt, Joyce Brown. Joyce Brown is the Director of Program Health of Mother Earth Foundation. Good morning, Joyce. If you can hear me, there is quite a lot of argument with regards to the consumption of genetically modified food, popularly known as GMOs. Tell us the benefit and indeed the health concern be raised by Nigerians.
All right, I hope you can hear me clearly. So for GMOs, genetically modified foods, the implications far outweigh whatever benefits they may seem to have on the interim, and there are several of those implications, including implications on our economy, which basically stem from the fact that for most of the GM crops, reproduction does not give the expected yield, and it is said that after the first planting season, productivity would reduce. So farmers are encouraged to year after year go back to the corporations to buy the seeds, and this does not align with our food system, with our agriculture, where farmers are able to save and reuse their seeds. And in other places, especially for example, in India, where farmers have focused on planting some GMOs, they've had losses that have prompted some of them to even commit suicides. And so we need to learn from that as a country that this is not the way to go. And in terms of impact on the economy, also, a few weeks back, the Association of Cotton Farmers in Nigeria did put out a report to say that GMOs are not yielding more than conventional varieties. And what is more worrying is the fact that after about 4 years that they have planted the genetically modified cotton, they say that other local crops are not growing out of this soil. So it means there's been some sort of contamination in the soil that is affecting the production of local varieties. So after planting GMOs, other crops, local crops, are not able to grow on such soil. So this is serious. It's something we need to take seriously, and that should inform our decision with regard to GMOs. There are implications on the environment as well, in terms of impact on biodiversity. So studies have shown up. It is known that over 80% of GMOs are designed to be herbicide tolerant, and these herbicides have serious implications because they do not only destroy the target pests, but also destroy other beneficial organisms within the soil ecosystem. For example, studies have shown that population of bees, have significantly reduced in areas where these GMOs have been used over a period of time. And we know how important bees are in our food system, in our food chain. These herbicides also affect beneficial, soil microorganisms that bring about soil degradation and would in turn lead to low productivity. So in a bid to address the issue of food insecurity, we will be creating even more problems that would result to food insecurity. And of course, there are implications on human health. There are lots of studies, a lot of researches that have linked the consumption of GMOs, to problems such as cancers, immune system disorders, and a number of other issues. So these are things that we should take seriously and not just overlook. And as a country, we need to we need not to rely on the word of the people who are promoting these crops or looking to market them in the country when they say that GMOs are safe. We need to do our own assessment to be sure to base our decision on the results of our own research and assessment.
Joyce, are you advocating for the total ban of GMO foods in Nigeria and by extension Africa?
Absolutely, because because they will bring more trouble. They will bring more problems than the problems they are attempting to solve or that they're promising to solve. There are solutions within Africa, within Nigeria, for the problems that we have in our food system, and GMOs are not the solution at all.
Indeed. Let's look at the regulatory lapses. Do you think the Ministry of Agriculture and the concerned agencies have put in adequate framework to regulate the activities of promoters of GMOs?
No, we do not think so. So, like I was saying before now, we haven't done adequate long-term risk assessment. So we have over time asked the National Biosafety Management Agency and other concerned agencies for reports of risk assessments that were done before the products that have been approved so far were approved. Until now, there's no evidence of such a risk assessment. There's no report, peer-reviewed report that actually shows that, oh, we have done this long-term testing, feeding test inclusive, to be sure that this product will not, negatively affect our people. So far, what we see, what we hear about is field trials, but that is not sufficient. We need to have clinical trials. We need to have long-term testing to be sure that over time, these GMOs will not have, very serious implication on people. So that's one of the lapses. And secondly, the composition of the board of the regulatory agency when it comes to GMO is a problem in terms of conflict of interest, because we have on that board a major promoter of GMOs, which is the National Biotechnology Development and Research Agency. So, for example, in the year 2016, this agency that promotes GMOs applied for a permit, for GMOs with a chief biotech corporation, which is known as Monsanto, which is now known as Bayer, applied jointly to the regulator for a permit, and that same agency is on the board of the NBMA, and of course they sat in the board to decide on a permit that they have been part of or they are co-applying for. So it's a serious case of conflict of interest that needs to be critically addressed, and that also goes to show that we cannot trust the decisions made by the NBMA because of vested interest that are obviously involved in the process, in the decision-making process.
All right. As we wrap this conversation now, how will a local farmer, for example, in my village, identify a GMO seed?
That brings us to the issue of rights. Looking at GMOs, physically, one cannot tell which is genetically modified and which is not. So farmers, people, consumers are, consuming GMOs, the BT cowpea, which is basically beans, and the corn, without knowing that they're consuming GMOs. And this is a problem. Some people have said we should have mandatory labeling so people are able to make informed decisions. But the way food is consumed in Nigeria, the way food is sold in our markets, it is difficult, if not impossible, to have that labeling enforced. In other jurisdictions, we have people buy food from supermarkets where they have sections, and they can tell you, this section is for organic food, this is for GMO, so that people know what they're buying. But here, most of our people buy food from open markets where beans, gari, rice, corn, all that is sold in basins, in baskets. So there is no way those will be labeled. In the first place, the people are not aware of what GMOs are. Most people are not aware, and even when they become aware, we can be sure that they will not want to label. They will not want to say they are selling GMOs because of the controversy around it. So it's difficult. It's nearly impossible because of our socioeconomic system to have GMOs labeled and for people to make informed decisions. So that's one of the reasons why we also are saying no to GMOs.
Indeed, Joyce Brown, I think we'll bring you back on another time to discuss more about this topic. Is a very, very critical one. Nigerians need to know and be able to identify which is GMO and, of course, which is the one we produce locally here in Nigeria. Joyce Brown, Director of Program, Health of Mother Earth Foundation, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right. From one interesting topic to the other, we're looking at our second topic for today is talking about high cost of PMS and, of course, the need for digitization of mass transit. And, of course, we also look at the CNG option being canvassed by the federal government. That the conversation started when the fuel subsidy was taken out last year there by the current government upon his assumption of office. Since then, they talk about conversion of vehicles to CNG has been at the front burner. But 1 year and about 18 to 20 months after, what has been the progress so far with regards to the conversion of vehicles to to CNG? We'll continue that discussion immediately after this break. Don't go away.